Commander Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Retribution, staring at the display screen in front of him. The darkness of space was filled with lights. Thousands of lights. Each one was a warship. Each warship belonged to the Galactic Council. The Council fleet was massive. Hyunwoo had never seen so many ships in one place. They moved together like a school of fish, organized and deadly. The reptilian Drachner ships looked like flying fortresses covered in weapons. The Vex vessels were organic and strange, like giant insects made of metal. The crystalline Luminite cruisers glowed with inner light. The Soltari ships were sleek and beautiful, painted in silver and gold. All of them were here for one reason: Earth. Hyunwoo touched his communication device. His voice was calm and steady. Send the report to headquarters. Tell them the Council has arrived at Proxima. Fleet size is bigger than expected. His crew worked quietly around him. The Retribution was a stealth ship. It could hide from enemy sensors. Right now they were invisible, watching the Council fleet from a safe distance. The aliens had no idea humans were watching them. Back on Earth, Ambassador Jiwon walked through the halls of the orbital station. Her shoes made soft sounds on the metal floor. She had received a message from the Council 30 minutes ago. Her hands were shaking as she held the data pad. The station's command center was full of people. Military officers, scientists, politicians. Everyone looked worried. Jiwon stepped up to the main screen and inserted her data pad. The Council's message appeared for everyone to see. A Drachner face filled the screen. His scales were dark green and his eyes were yellow. People of Earth, the alien said. His voice was deep and cold. I am High Commander Varsek of the Galactic Council. For many years we have watched your species spread across the stars. We have watched you build weapons. We have watched you grow stronger. This cannot continue. Jiwon felt her heart beating fast. Around her, people whispered to each other. Varsek continued. The Council has decided. Humanity is a threat to galactic peace. You must surrender. Stop all expansion into new systems. Give us your military technology. Accept Council rule over Earth and all your colonies. You have 72 hours to accept these terms. If you refuse, we will destroy you. The message ended. The screen went black. The room was silent. Someone finally spoke. They want us to give up everything. They want us to be slaves, another person said. Jiwon looked at the worried faces around her. She had been a diplomat for 20 years. She had negotiated trade deals and peace treaties. But this was different. This was not a negotiation. This was an ultimatum. On Earth's surface, in the capital city, President Mirai sat in an emergency meeting. The room was deep underground, protected by layers of concrete and steel. Around the table sat her most trusted advisors. General Taeyang was there, his uniform covered in medals. Next to him was Dr. Hana, the head of human weapons research. 72 hours, President Mirai said. She looked tired. That's all they're giving us. General Taeyang leaned forward. His face was serious. Madam President, we knew this day would come. The Council has feared us since we left our solar system. They cannot control us, so they want to destroy us. Can we fight them? The President asked. Their fleet is enormous, Dr. Hana spoke up. She was young, only 35 years old, but she was the smartest scientist on Earth. We can fight them. We have been preparing for this moment for 30 years. Everyone at the table turned to look at her. 30 years ago, we intercepted Council communications, Dr. Hana explained. We learned that they saw us as a threat. So we started working in secret. We built new weapons. We developed new technology. The Council thinks we are weak. They think our ships are slow and our weapons are primitive. They are wrong, General Taeyang nodded. We call it Operation Reckoning. Every human colony has been preparing. Every ship in our fleet has been upgraded. We have weapons the Council has never seen before. President Mirai stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the city. Millions of people living their lives. Children going to school. People going to work. All of them depending on her to make the right choice. Show me, she said. Show me what we have. Dr. Hana activated a hologram projector. Images appeared in the air above the table. This is our phase shift drive. It allows our ships to move between normal space and another dimension. We can appear and disappear. Their sensors cannot track us. We are like ghosts. Another image appeared. These are quantum torpedoes. They create tiny black holes that tear through any shield. Council ships have strong defenses, but they have never faced weapons like these. General Taiyang added more information. We also have new fighters, faster and more agile than anything the Council has. Our pilots have been training for years. And we have something else. Our soldiers use exoskeleton armor. It makes them stronger and faster. One human soldier can fight 10 aliens. President Mirai studied the images carefully. How many ships do we have? 3,000 combat vessels, the general answered. Plus support ships, carriers, and defense platforms. The Council has more ships, but we have better technology. The president sat down again. She looked at each person at the table. If we fight, people will die. Thousands of people. Maybe millions. If we surrender, humanity ends, General Taiyang said quietly. We will be slaves. Our children will grow up under alien rule. We will never be free again. Dr. Hana nodded. The Council fears us because we are different. We adapt, we innovate. We never give up. That is what makes us human. President Mirai closed her eyes and thought. She thought about her daughter. She thought about all the people counting on her. She thought about what it meant to be human. Finally, she opened her eyes. Her voice was strong and clear. Send a message to all our fleets. Activate Operation Reckoning. We will not surrender. We will fight. Across human space, the message spread. On the colony world of New Sol, Pilot Deho received the alert. He was only 22 years old. This would be his first real battle. He walked to his fighter and climbed into the cockpit. His hands were steady on the controls. He was afraid, but he was ready. On military stations around every human colony, ships powered up their engines. Weapons were loaded. Shields were activated. Humanity was preparing for war. In the Proxima system, Commander Hyun-woo watched the Council fleet begin to move. They were heading toward Earth. They thought this would be easy. They thought humans would beg for mercy. Hyun-woo smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator. All ships, he said into his communicator, begin moving into position. Stay in stealth mode. When they reach Earth, we will show them what humans can do. The 72 hours had begun. The countdown to war had started, and the Galactic Council had no idea what was coming for them. The Council fleet entered Earth's solar system like a storm of metal and fire. Thousands of warships moved forward in perfect formation. High Commander Varsek stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. He looked at the blue planet ahead and felt satisfied. This would be over quickly. Send scanners forward, Varsek commanded. Find their defense fleet. His crew worked at their stations. Minutes passed. Then one officer spoke up, his voice confused. Commander, we are detecting nothing. No ships. No weapons platforms, nothing. Varsek's eyes narrowed. Nothing? Impossible. Where are their defenses? Perhaps they have surrendered already, another officer suggested. Varsek thought about this. Humans were known to be clever, but they were also weak. Their technology was primitive compared to the Council's might. Maybe they realized fighting was useless. Continue forward, Varsek ordered. But stay alert. Humans are tricky creatures. Behind Jupiter's massive bulk, hidden in the planet's radiation belts, Admiral Kwan sat in the command chair of the Indomitable. Around him, 300 human warships waited in silence. Their phase shift drives kept them invisible to Council sensors. Kwan watched his tactical display. The enemy fleet was spreading out, moving deeper into the solar system. They were arrogant. They thought they had already won. All ships report ready, his tactical officer said. Weapons armed. Targeting solutions locked. Kwan nodded slowly. He had served in the human fleet for 40 years. He had fought pirates and raiders. But this was different. This was a war for survival. If they lost today, humanity would cease to exist. Wait for my signal, Kwan said quietly. Let them get closer. On Mars, at Colony Alpha, people watched the sky with fear. The colony was home to 50,000 humans. They had farms and factories. Children played in the domed parks. Now Council ships were approaching their world. We should evacuate, someone said in the colony control center. There's no time, the colony administrator replied. We have to trust our fleet. High Commander Varsek saw Mars ahead. The red planet looked small and helpless. He decided to send a message. Show the humans what would happen if they resisted. Target Mars Colony Alpha, Varsek commanded. Prepare weapons. We will destroy one section. Show them our power. His weapons officer worked at the controls. Weapons charging, Commander. Ready to fire in 30 seconds. Varsek smiled. After this demonstration, Earth would have no choice but to surrender. The seconds counted down. 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Suddenly, alarms blared across the Draknir flagship. Warning lights flashed red. What is happening? Varsek shouted. Ships appearing around us, an officer screamed.
Human ships.
They came from nowhere. All around the Council vanguard, human vessels phased into normal space. They appeared like ghosts, materializing from nothing. The Council's sensors went crazy, trying to understand what they were seeing. Commander Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Retribution. His ship was now visible, positioned directly above a Draknir cruiser. All around him, his squadron had done the same. They had the enemy surrounded. Fire, Hyunwoo said calmly. Blue light filled space. Quantum torpedoes launched from every human ship. The weapons moved faster than missiles. They hit Council vessels before the aliens could react. The torpedoes struck shields and tore through them like paper. Tiny black holes formed on impact, ripping metal apart. Draknir cruisers exploded in massive fireballs. Vex ships broke into pieces. Lumine vessels shattered like glass. In 15 seconds, 15 Council capital ships were gone. All ships, phase shift, Hyunwoo commanded. The human vessels vanished again, disappearing before the Council could return fire. Chaos erupted in the enemy fleet. Ship captains shouted orders. Weapons fired at empty space. Nobody knew where the humans would appear next. On Earth, in the underground command center, Engineer Soman watched the battle on dozens of screens. Her job was to coordinate the fleet's movements. She tracked every human ship, every enemy vessel. Her fingers moved across holographic controls, sending orders and updating tactical data. Squadron 7, move to Sector 4, she said into her headset. Enemy carrier group is vulnerable. Far above Earth, Admiral Kwan saw his opening. The Council fleet was breaking formation, confused and scared. It was time to strike. All ships attack, Kwan commanded. Show them what happens when you threaten Earth. The Indomitable and 300 warships phased into the battle. They appeared in the middle of the Council fleet, surrounding the enemy from all sides. Human ships moved like dancers, weaving between alien vessels. They fired, phased out, and reappeared somewhere else. The Council could not track them, could not hit them, could not understand how humans moved so fast. Pilot Daeho flew his fighter through the chaos. Enemy fire filled space around him. Red beams, blue missiles, green plasma bolts. Everything was trying to kill him. But his fighter was fast, so fast. He rolled left, dove down, accelerated forward. His targeting computer locked onto a Vex interceptor. He pressed the trigger. His weapons hit the alien craft and it exploded. One down, Daeho said to himself. His heart was racing. This was terrifying and exciting at the same time. Another enemy fighter came at him from above. Daeho saw it on his sensors. He pulled his control stick hard, spinning his fighter in a tight circle. The alien pilot fired but missed. Daeho completed his spin and ended up behind the enemy. Another trigger pull. Another explosion. 2 down. Around him, other human pilots were doing the same. They fought in pairs and groups, helping each other. When one pilot was in trouble, another would save them. They worked together like they had trained for years. Because they had. High Commander Varsek could not believe what he was seeing. His fleet was supposed to be superior. The Council had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. But humans were cutting through his ships like they were nothing. All vessels, retreat, Varsek shouted. Fall back to rally point, regroup. His fleet tried to pull back. But Commander Hyunwoo had predicted this. Human squadrons were already waiting along the escape routes. When Council ships tried to flee, they ran straight into ambushes. More explosions lit up space. More alien vessels died. On a Council space station in the outer system, Captain Yuna and her special operations team materialized from a transport beam. They wore black combat armor with built-in weapons. Their mission was to disable the station's communications array. The station's defenders were Soltari guards. They sensed the humans immediately with their telepathic abilities and raised their weapons. Energy beams flashed in the corridor. Yuna rolled behind a wall panel. Her team spread out, taking cover. They returned fire with plasma rifles. The weapons made sharp cracking sounds. Soltari guards fell. Move forward, Yuna commanded. We have 10 minutes before reinforcements arrive. Her team advanced through the station. They moved like shadows, fast and silent. Any guard they encountered was eliminated quickly. They reached the communications center and planted explosive charges on the main computers. Charges set, one of her soldiers reported. Timer active. Let's go, Yuna said. They ran back to the transport point. Behind them, the charges exploded. The entire communications array went dark. The council station could no longer coordinate with the fleet. Across the solar system, other human teams did the same. Supply depots were sabotaged. Sensor stations were destroyed. Fuel facilities exploded. The council's ability to coordinate their forces crumbled. Back in the main battle, Admiral Kwan assessed the situation. The council had entered the system with 4,000 ships. Now they had less than 2,500, and they were running. Pursuit teams maintain pressure, Kwan ordered. Do not let them regroup. Human ships chased the fleeing aliens. Every few minutes, another council vessel would explode or surrender. On the Destroyer of Worlds, Varsek sat in his command chair. He looked defeated. His officers were silent. Nobody wanted to say what they were all thinking. They had lost. Humanity had won. Send a retreat signal to all council forces, Varsek said quietly. We are withdrawing from human space. The council fleet jumped away into faster-than-light travel. They left behind wreckage and debris. Hundreds of destroyed ships. Thousands of dead aliens. Earth's orbital stations erupted in celebration. People cheered and cried with relief. They had survived. Humanity had survived. President Mirai watched the footage of the battle. She saw the destroyed ships. She thought about all the beings who had died today. She felt no joy, only sadness. War was terrible even when you won. But she also felt pride. Humanity had faced extinction and refused to surrender. They had fought back and won. The galaxy had tried to destroy them. Instead, the galaxy learned a hard lesson. Humanity would not go quietly into the darkness. They would fight, they would survive, and they would win. News of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On 1,000 worlds, alien species watched the battle recordings in shock. The mighty Galactic Council had been defeated. Humanity, the young species everyone had ignored, had destroyed 40% of their fleet in a single day. On the neutral trading world of Kashar Prime, merchants and travelers gathered in cantinas and meeting halls. They watched the footage again and again. Human ships appearing from nowhere. Quantum torpedoes tearing through shields. Council vessels exploding by the dozens. How did they do it? A Lumini trader asked. Technology we have never seen, another replied. They have been hiding their true strength. The council made a terrible mistake, a third alien said quietly. They woke up a sleeping giant. On the council's central world, emergency meetings continued for days. The four ruling species argued and blamed each other. The Draknir wanted revenge. The Vex wanted to negotiate. The Lumini wanted to wait and study the humans. The Soltari wanted to understand how they had been so wrong about Earth's capabilities. But they all agreed on one thing. Humanity could not be allowed to exist. If other species saw that the council could be defeated, the entire galactic order would collapse. They had to destroy Earth completely, no matter the cost. Send messages to all member worlds, the council leader announced. Call up every reserve fleet. Mobilize every warrior. Humanity must be exterminated. On Earth, President Mirai stood before cameras broadcasting to every human colony. Behind her was the flag of United Earth, blue and white with stars representing every human world. Her face was serious but strong. My fellow humans, she began. 3 days ago, the Galactic Council demanded our surrender. They wanted to enslave us. They wanted to take away our freedom. We said no, and we showed them that humanity will never kneel. Across human space, people watched and listened. In homes and schools and military bases, everyone heard her words. But our fight is not over, Mirai continued. The Council is gathering a new fleet. They will come again, and this time they will bring everything they have. So we must strike first. We must take the war to them. We must show the galaxy that attacking Earth has consequences. In a secure research facility beneath the surface of Luna, Dr. Junho stood in front of a massive holographic display. He was the head of military strategy for United Earth. Around him, dozens of officers and scientists studied star maps and fleet positions. The Council has 4 homeworlds, Junho explained, pointing to different locations on the map. Each one is heavily defended, but their defenses are designed to stop conventional attacks. They are not prepared for our phase shift technology. General Taiyang studied the map carefully. You are suggesting deep strikes into enemy territory. Hit them where they think they are safe. Exactly, Junho replied. If we attack their shipyards and military bases, we can stop them from building new fleets. Every ship we destroy now is a ship that cannot attack Earth later. Admiral Kwan entered the room. He had been reviewing fleet readiness reports. Our ships are ready. Our crews are ready. Give the order and we can launch immediately. President Mirai, watching through a video link, nodded slowly. Do it. Operation Deep Strike is approved. Show the Council that nowhere is safe from human retaliation. Commander Hyun-woo prepared his fleet for the raid on Draknir Prime. His squadron consisted of 50 stealth ships, the best and fastest in the human fleet. Their target was the orbital shipyards where the Draknir built their warships. Remember, Hyun-woo told his captains, we are not targeting civilians. Only military installations. Shipyards, weapon platforms, military bases. We show the galaxy that we are not monsters like the Council. The fleet jumped into faster-than-light travel. Space twisted around them as they moved between stars. The journey to Draknir Prime took 6 hours. When they emerged, they were inside the enemy home system, far past all the defensive perimeters. The Draknir had never been attacked on their homeworld. For 3,000 years, their planet had been safe. Their defenses faced outward, expecting enemies to come from space. They did not expect enemies to appear directly above their shipyards. Hyun-woo's fleet phased into normal space. Below them, massive orbital stations floated in space. Each one was kilometers long, filled with construction bays where new warships were being built. Thousands of Draknir workers labored on dozens of ships. Target the shipyards, Hyun-woo commanded. Fire! Quantum torpedoes streaked down toward the stations. They hit with devastating accuracy. Construction bays exploded. Half-built ships broke apart. Metal and debris scattered into space. But the human weapons were precise. They destroyed only the military sections. The civilian quarters remained intact. Workers had time to evacuate. Draknir defense ships scrambled to respond. Fighters launched from planetary bases. Weapons platforms rotated to face the human fleet. But before they could fire, Hyun-woo's ships vanished, phasing out of normal space. They reappeared on the other side of the planet. More shipyards, more targets, more explosions. Then they vanished again. The Draknir military command was in chaos. How could they fight enemies who appeared and disappeared at will? How could they defend against weapons that ignored their shields? After 30 minutes, Hyun-woo's fleet jumped away. They left behind burning shipyards and destroyed construction facilities. The Draknir had lost the ability to build new ships for months, maybe years. Young pilot Daeho had distinguished himself during the raid. When a group of Draknir interceptors had ambushed his squadron, he had reacted faster than anyone else. His flying was aggressive and creative. He destroyed 3 enemy fighters and saved 2 of his fellow pilots. After the battle, Admiral Kwan personally commended him. You have natural talent, Daeho. We are promoting you to squadron leader. Daeho felt proud but also humble. He had seen friends die during the battle. Victory came with a price. The next target was the Vex homeworld. Unlike the Draknir, the Vex lived underground in massive hive complexes. Their military infrastructure was buried beneath kilometers of rock and earth. Normal orbital bombardment would be useless. This mission required ground forces. Captain Yuna and her special operations team volunteered. They were the best of the best, trained for impossible missions. We will infiltrate their hive system, Yuna explained to her team. Plant quantum charges at critical structural points. When they detonate, the explosions will collapse their military tunnels. Her team consisted of 30 soldiers. All of them wore advanced combat armor that made them stronger and faster. They carried plasma weapons and stealth generators. They were ready for anything. The infiltration began at night on the Vex world. Human transports landed far from the hive entrances. Yuna's team moved through alien forests, avoiding patrols and sensors. They reached a ventilation shaft that led deep underground. Going dark, Yuna said into her communicator. They descended into the hive. The Vex tunnels were strange and organic. Walls pulsed like living tissue. Strange lights glowed from bioluminescent fungi. The air smelled wrong, thick with alien chemicals. Yuna's team moved silently through the tunnels. They used scanners to map the hive structure. They found the military sections where weapons were stored and warriors were bred. They planted quantum charges, small devices that would create devastating explosions. But the Vex sensed intruders. Alarms echoed through the tunnels. Warrior drones emerged from side passages. They were large insects with armor plating and natural weapons. Sharp claws and acid sprayers. Contact, one of Yuna's soldiers shouted. Plasma fire lit up the tunnel. Vex warriors screamed and fell, but more came. Wave after wave of them. Keep moving, Yuna commanded. We need to reach the extraction point. Her team fought through the tunnels. The combat was close and brutal. Humans and aliens struggling in narrow passages. The advanced armor gave humans an advantage. One soldier could fight multiple Vex warriors. But there were so many enemies. They reached the main military chamber. It was enormous, filled with weapons and equipment. Thousands of warrior drones waited in stasis pods. This was the heart of Vex military power. Yuna planted the largest charge in the center of the chamber. Timer set. We have 5 minutes, they ran. Behind them, Vex warriors pursued. The team reached the surface with seconds to spare. They signaled for extraction. A human transport appeared from the sky and pulled them aboard. The ship accelerated away from the planet. Below, the quantum charges detonated. The explosions were massive. Entire sections of the hive complex collapsed. Tunnels fell in on themselves. Thousands of warrior drones were buried under tons of rock. The Vex Queen Mother, deep in her chamber, felt the destruction. She sent a desperate message to the Council. Help us, the humans are destroying us. Send reinforcements, but help would not come in time. Other human teams were attacking other targets across the galaxy. Supply depots burned. Communication stations went silent. Fuel refineries exploded. The Council's united front began to crack. The Lumini representatives questioned whether continuing the war was worth the destruction. Why fight a species that could strike anywhere, anytime? The Soltari found their telepathic networks jammed by human electronic warfare. They could not coordinate The Council's response was massive and desperate. From 100 worlds, warships gathered. Every species loyal to the Council sent their fleets. 2,000 ships became 3,000, then 4,000, then 5,000. It was the largest armada ever assembled in galactic history. High Commander Varsek had been replaced. The Council blamed him for the first defeat. The new commander was a Soltari named Kelris. She was known for being ruthless and brilliant. She stood on the bridge of her flagship and studied the holographic map of human space. We will not make the same mistakes, Kelris said to her officers. We will attack Earth directly, overwhelm them with numbers. Their technology is advanced, but they cannot fight 5,000 ships at once. Her plan was simple. Jump directly to Earth's solar system, attack from all sides simultaneously, destroy every human ship, every station, every defense, then bombard Earth until nothing remained. The Council fleet prepared to jump. On every ship, warriors made ready for battle. This time there would be no retreat, no mercy. Humanity would end today. On Earth, alarms sounded across every military installation. Sensors detected the massive energy buildup at the Council's staging area. They were coming. General Taeyang stood in the command center watching the tactical displays. He had expected this. The Council's pride would not allow them to accept defeat. They would throw everything at Earth in one final assault. Activate the Sol barrier, Taeyang commanded. Across the solar system, hidden platforms came online. For 5 years, human engineers had been placing weapons in secret locations, behind asteroids, inside comets, on distant moons. Thousands of automated defense platforms, each one loaded with weapons and targeting systems. The platforms formed a web of overlapping fire zones. Any enemy entering the solar system would face attacks from multiple angles. It was the most sophisticated defensive network ever created. Admiral Quan positioned the human fleet near Earth. His ships were ready. Weapons armed, crews at battle stations. This would be the greatest battle in human history. Whatever happens today, Quan said to his captains, we fight to the last ship. Earth must survive. Engineer Soman worked frantically at her station. Her job was to coordinate all the defense platforms. There were so many of them, thousands. She had to make sure they worked together, not firing at the same targets. Every shot had to count. Systems online, she reported. All platforms responding. Targeting computers linked. We are ready. The Council fleet jumped into human space. 5,000 warships appeared at the edge of the solar system. They spread out in a massive formation, surrounding Earth from every direction. It looked like a wall of metal and weapons closing in. On the Soltari flagship, Commander Kelris smiled. Begin the attack. All ships advance. Destroy everything. The Council fleet moved forward, thousands of ships accelerating toward Earth. Their weapons powered up. Their shields glowed. They expected some resistance, but they had overwhelming numbers. Nothing could stop them. Then the soul barrier activated. From every direction, weapons platforms opened fire. Magnetic cannons launched tungsten slugs at incredible speeds. The projectiles moved so fast they were invisible. They hit council ships like hammers. Shields flickered and failed. Hull armor cracked. Ships exploded. Laser batteries added to the chaos. Beams of concentrated light sliced through enemy vessels. Point defense systems shot down incoming missiles. The entire solar system became a killing field. The Council fleet tried to advance, but ships collided with each other. The formation broke apart. Captains shouted orders. Crews panicked. Everywhere they looked, their ships were dying. What is this? Kelris screamed. Where are these weapons coming from? Her tactical officer studied the sensors. His face went pale. Everywhere, Commander. They are everywhere. Thousands of platforms. We cannot target them all. Admiral Kwan saw his moment. The enemy was confused and disorganized. Time to strike. All ships attack, Kwan ordered. Target their command vessels. The human fleet phased into the middle of the enemy formation. They appeared right next to Council flagships and carriers. At point-blank range, they unleashed everything. Quantum torpedoes, plasma cannons, missile volleys. Massive Council ships broke apart under the assault. A Dracnir supercarrier exploded, taking dozens of smaller ships with it. A Vex hive ship split in half. A Lumine battlecruiser shattered into crystal fragments. Pilot Deho led his squadron into the chaos. He was no longer the nervous young pilot from the first battle. Now he was a squadron leader. His people followed him into the most dangerous situations. Stay tight, Deho said to his pilots. Watch each other's backs. We are going after their fighters. Enemy interceptors filled the space around them. Deho's squadron engaged in a massive dogfight. Ships twisted and turned. Weapons fired in all directions. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Deho locked onto an enemy fighter. He fired. Miss. The alien pilot was good. Deho pursued, matching every move. Finally, he got a clear shot. His weapons hit. Another enemy destroyed. Good kill, one of his pilots said. But we have more coming. The battle raged across the entire solar system. Near Mars, around Jupiter. Through the asteroid belt. Everywhere, humans and aliens fought desperately. Commander Hyunwoo's stealth squadron targeted Council supply ships. These vessels carried fuel and ammunition for the enemy fleet. Destroying them would cripple the Council's ability to continue fighting. His ships appeared behind the supply convoy. The transport ships had minimal defenses. They were easy targets. Hyunwoo felt no pleasure in destroying them, but war was war. The supplies exploded in massive fireballs. Captain Yuna had a different mission. Human intelligence had identified which ship carried Commander Kelris. If the Council leader died, the enemy fleet would lose coordination. Yuna's team used boarding pods, small armored capsules that could attach to enemy ships. They launched from a human carrier and flew through the battle. Point defense fire tried to shoot them down, but the pods were too small and too fast. They attached to the Soltari flagship's hull. Cutting lasers burned through the armor. Yuna and her soldiers entered the ship. Inside, Soltari guards waited for them. The aliens were tall and slender, with silver skin and large eyes. They carried energy weapons, but they had never faced human special forces before. The battle inside the ship was fierce. Yuna's team moved through corridors, clearing room by room. Their combat armor protected them from most enemy fire. Their weapons cut through Soltari defenses. Bridges 2 levels up, one soldier reported. They fought their way higher into the ship. Every step was contested, but humans were trained for this. Every soldier knew their role. They worked as a perfect unit. Finally, they reached the bridge. The doors were sealed. Heavy blast doors designed to withstand attacks, but human technology had answers for everything. They placed shaped charges on the door. The explosion blew it inward. Yuna entered first. Commander Kelris stood in the center of the bridge, surrounded by her officers. The Soltari commander raised her weapon, but Yuna was faster. A single shot from her plasma rifle hit Kelris in the chest. The Council commander fell. Bridge secured, Yuna reported. Enemy commander eliminated. With their leader dead, the Council fleet's coordination collapsed. Ships stopped receiving orders. Some captains tried to continue fighting. Others tried to retreat. The fleet became a mob, not an army. Admiral Kwan pressed the advantage. All ships maximum attack. Break them completely. The human fleet tore through the enemy formation. Ship after ship exploded or surrendered. The Sol barrier platforms continued their automated fire. The Council Armada was being destroyed. High above Earth on the orbital command station, President Mirai watched the battle. She saw thousands of ships fighting. She saw explosions lighting up space. She saw both human and alien vessels dying. "How many have we lost?" she asked quietly. General Taeyang checked the reports. His expression was grim. 300 ships destroyed. 500 damaged. 15,000 casualties. Mirai closed her eyes. 15,000 people. 15,000 families who would never see their loved ones again. The price of victory was steep, but the alternative was extinction. "What about the enemy?" she asked. "They have lost over 3,000 ships," Taeyang replied. "Maybe more. The ones that remain are trying to retreat." "Let them go," Mirai said. "Let them run back to the Council and tell them what happened here. Tell them that Earth cannot be conquered." The surviving Council ships jumped away. They left behind wreckage and debris, thousands of destroyed vessels, hundreds of thousands of dead. It was the worst military defeat in galactic history. On Earth, people emerged from shelters and watched the sky. They saw the lights of battle fading. They saw human ships returning home. They knew they had survived. Across the planet, celebrations began. People cried with relief. They hugged each other. They thanked the soldiers and pilots who had saved them, but in the command center there was no celebration. President Mirai, General Taeyang, and Admiral Kwan knew the truth. The Council was broken, but the war was not over. There were still threats out there, still enemies who wanted humanity destroyed. 3 days after the Great Battle, President Mirai sat in her office on Earth. Outside her window she could see the city rebuilding. Ships returning, soldiers coming home. But her mind was troubled. Ambassador Jiwon entered the room carrying data pads. Her face showed exhaustion. She had been in diplomatic meetings for 72 hours straight. "The Council species are sending peace requests," Jiwon said. "The Lumini want technology exchanges. The Soltari offer trade agreements. Even some Draknir factions are asking to negotiate." "What about the Vex?" Mirai asked. Jiwon's expression darkened. "The Vex are divided. Most want peace. But there is a radical faction that refuses to accept defeat." Before Mirai could respond, alarms sounded. Emergency alerts appeared on every screen. General Taeyang rushed into the office. "We have reports from the Outer Rim colonies," he said urgently. 3 settlements have been attacked. New Sol colony. Harrison Station. Kepler base, all destroyed. Mirai felt cold. "How many casualties?" "Over 50,000 dead," Taeyang replied quietly. The attacks came without warning. Vex suicide ships crashed into the colonies. The colonies had minimal defenses. They never had a chance. Across Earth, news of the attack spread. People who had been celebrating just days ago now mourned. 50,000 civilians. Men, women, children, all dead because a radical Vex faction refused to accept peace. The public outcry was immediate and angry. People demanded revenge. They wanted the Vex homeworld destroyed completely. No mercy, no negotiation. President Mirai addressed the planet that evening. Her voice was steady but filled with pain. "Our people have been murdered. Innocent civilians attacked by cowards. We will respond. But we will not become the monsters they want us to be. We will strike only those responsible. We will show the galaxy that humanity has justice, not just vengeance." In a military briefing room, Captain Yuna studied intelligence reports. Her team had been analyzing Vex communications. They had found something important. The attacks were ordered by a rogue queen, Yuna explained to the gathered officers. She commands a splinter faction, about 10,000 warriors. They operate from a hidden hive complex in the northern mountains of the Vex homeworld. General Taeyang studied the data. "Can we reach them?" "Yes," Yuna said, "but it will be difficult. The complex is deep underground, heavily defended. We will need to go in on foot." Admiral Kwan spoke up. "What about orbital bombardment?" "We could destroy the entire mountain." Yuna shook her head. "There are civilian hives nearby. Innocent Vex who had nothing to do with the attacks. If we destroy the mountain, we kill them too. We would be no better than the terrorists." The room was silent. Everyone understood the difficulty. They could easily destroy the target from orbit. But that would kill thousands of innocents. It would make humanity look like the barbarians the Council had always claimed they were. "We go in on foot," General Taeyang decided. "Captain Yuna, prepare your team. You will lead the operation. Yuna gathered her best soldiers, 50 warriors, all veterans of previous battles. They equipped themselves with the latest weapons and armor. Each soldier knew this mission might be their last. Commander Hyunwoo provided orbital support. His stealth ships would get Yuna's team to the planet's surface undetected. Then they would provide backup if needed. The journey to the Vex homeworld took 2 days. During the flight, Yuna briefed her team on the mission details. The Hive complex had multiple entrances, heavy security, thousands of warrior drones, and somewhere deep inside, the rogue queen who had ordered the attacks. Our mission is simple, Yuna told her soldiers. Find the queen, capture or eliminate her, destroy her military capability, but avoid civilian casualties. We are soldiers, not murderers. They landed at night on the Vex world. The planet was strange and beautiful. Purple vegetation covered the landscape. 3 moons hung in the sky. Alien creatures made sounds in the darkness. Yuna's team moved silently through the forest. They reached the Hive entrance just before dawn. Guards stood watch. Large Vex warriors with natural armor and weapons. Stealth approach, Yuna whispered into her communicator. Her soldiers activated their cloaking devices. They became nearly invisible. One by one, they moved past the guards and entered the Hive. Inside, the tunnels were dark and twisting. Bioluminescent fungi provided dim light. The walls pulsed with organic material. It felt like being inside a living creature. They moved deeper, past worker chambers where civilian Vex tended eggs and larvae, past food storage areas, past sleeping quarters. The team avoided all contact, moving like ghosts through the alien structure. Then they reached the military section. Warrior drones stood in formation. Weapons were stacked along the walls. This was where the rogue queen kept her army. Plant the charges, Yuna ordered quietly. Her demolition experts placed explosive devices at strategic points. When detonated, they would collapse this section of the Hive, bury the weapons and warriors, end the military threat, but alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed. The Vex had detected them. We are compromised, one soldier shouted. Multiple contacts incoming. Warriors poured from side tunnels. Hundreds of them. Their mandibles clicked. Their claws scraped stone. They moved fast like a living wave of chitin and rage. Open fire, Yuna commanded. The tunnel erupted in combat. Plasma rifles lit up the darkness. Vex warriors screamed and fell. But more came. Always more. The team fought desperately, backing toward the Queen's chamber. Pilot Diho, waiting in orbit, heard the distress calls. Captain Yuna needs support. Permission to provide close air support. Commander Hyunwoo checked his tactical display. Negative. Too many civilians in the area. Yuna's team is on their own. In the Hive, Yuna's team fought through room after room. The combat was brutal and exhausting. Soldiers fell wounded. Ammunition ran low. But they kept moving forward. Finally, they reached the Queen's chamber. It was enormous. The ceiling stretched high above, and in the center on a raised platform sat the rogue queen. She was massive, 3 times the size of a normal Vex. Her carapace was dark purple and covered in scars. Around her stood her elite guards, the strongest warriors in the Hive. Humans, the queen spoke. Her voice was like grinding stone. You dare enter my home? Yuna stepped forward. Her armor was damaged. Her face showed fatigue, but her voice was strong. You murdered 50,000 innocent people. Surrender now. Face justice for your crimes, the queen laughed. It was a terrible sound. Justice? What justice does the council give? They tried to exterminate your species. I simply finished what they started. The council was wrong, Yuna replied. But murdering civilians makes you a criminal. Not a warrior. Surrender or die. The queen stood. Her guards moved forward. I will never surrender to humans. The final battle began. Yuna's team fought the elite guards. These were not ordinary warriors. They were trained, experienced, deadly. Each one was a match for 3 human soldiers. Yuna faced the queen herself. The massive Vex attacked with claws and mandibles. Yuna dodged and fired her plasma rifle. The shots burned the queen's armor but did not penetrate. The queen was too strong, too heavily armored. Around them, humans and Vex fought desperately. Soldiers fell on both sides. The chamber filled with smoke and the smell of burned flesh. Yuna realized she could not win with weapons alone. She dropped her rifle and activated her armor's strength enhancers. She charged forward and grabbed the queen's leg. Using all her augmented strength, she pulled. The queen stumbled. Yuna climbed onto the massive Vex's back. She found a weak point in the armor, a gap near the neck. She pulled out her combat knife and drove it deep. The queen screamed. She thrashed wildly. Yuna held on, twisting the blade. Finally, the queen collapsed. Her legs folded. She crashed to the stone floor. "It is over," Yuna said quietly. The elite guards, seeing their queen dead, stopped fighting. They dropped their weapons. The battle ended. Yuna activated the charges her team had planted. "Everyone out, now!" Her soldiers ran. They carried their wounded. They raced through the tunnels back toward the entrance. Behind them, explosions echoed. The military section collapsed. Thousands of tons of rock buried the weapons and warrior breeding chambers. They emerged into daylight. Commander Hyunwoo's ships waited to extract them. As they lifted off, Yuna looked back at the hive. Smoke rose from the collapsed sections. But the civilian areas remained intact. Innocent Vex would live. Back on Earth, President Mirai received Yuna's report. The mission was successful. The terrorists were eliminated. Justice had been served without becoming monsters themselves. "We showed restraint," Mirai said to General Taeyang. "We could have destroyed the entire hive, killed millions. But we did not. We targeted only the guilty." Taeyang nodded. "The galaxy is watching. They see that humanity has honor. We are not the savages the Council claimed we were. But the victory felt hollow. 50,000 people were still dead. 3 colonies destroyed. The price of this war kept growing. Ambassador Jiwon brought more news. The Vex government has apologized. They are hunting other radical factions. They want to make peace. Real peace this time." "What about the others?" Mirai asked. "The Lumini and Soltari are ready to sign treaties. The Draknir are still debating, but something else has come up. Something strange." The investigation into the Shadow Directorate took 3 weeks. Human intelligence teams worked with moderate council leaders who were shocked to learn they had been manipulated. The Lumini provided ancient records. The Soltari used their telepathic networks to identify hidden agents. Slowly, the truth emerged. The Shadow Directorate was not new. It had existed for over 1,000 years. Its members came from every council species. They were the old guard, powerful individuals who feared change. They had manipulated galactic politics for centuries, engineering conflicts to maintain control. They started wars before, Ambassador Jiwon explained to President Mirai. Small conflicts between minor species. They used fear and chaos to consolidate power. But humanity was different. We were advancing too fast. They saw us as a threat to their control. Dr. Junho studied the data files recovered from Vex intelligence. The Directorate pushed the Council to declare war on Earth. They manipulated leaders, planted false evidence, made humanity look more dangerous than we were. They wanted the Council to destroy us. But when we won instead, it exposed their schemes. "Where are they now?" General Taeyang asked. "Hidden," Jiwon replied. "They have a secret base somewhere beyond charted space, a place where they coordinate their operations. If we want to end their threat permanently, we need to find it." Commander Hyunwoo was assigned to lead the search. His stealth ships were perfect for exploration missions. For 2 weeks, his fleet searched distant nebulas and uncharted systems. They followed encrypted communications, traced supply shipments, investigated rumors. Finally, they found it. A massive station hidden inside a purple nebula. The radiation made sensors useless. The location was perfect for staying hidden. The station was protected by automated defenses and a fleet of unmarked warships. "These ships are more advanced than anything the Council fielded," Hyunwoo reported to Earth. "The Directorate has been hoarding technology, keeping the best weapons for themselves." President Mirai called an emergency meeting. She contacted the moderate leaders of the Lumini, Soltari, and reformed Draknir factions. Even the Vex government joined the conference. "The Shadow Directorate betrayed all of us," Mirai said. "They used us as pawns, started a war that killed millions. If we want peace, we must eliminate them together." The Lumini leader agreed. "They manipulated my people for generations. This ends now." The Soltari representative nodded. "We will contribute our fleet. United we can defeat them." Even the Draknir, proud and stubborn, agreed to help. The Directorate dishonored us, made us attack without just cause. They must pay. For the first time in galactic history, human and council forces prepared to fight together. Admiral Kwan coordinated the joint fleet. Ships from 5 different species formed squadrons. Human pilots trained alongside alien pilots. Soldiers from different worlds worked together. It was strange at first. Weeks ago, they had been trying to kill each other. Now they fought side by side. But shared purpose created unity. Everyone wanted the Shadow Directorate destroyed. The joint fleet assembled near the nebula. Over 800 ships from multiple species. It was impressive but also dangerous. The Directorate's defenses were strong. This would not be an easy battle. All ships, this is Admiral Kwan, the commander broadcast to the entire fleet. Today we fight not as separate species but as allies. We fight for truth, for justice, for a galaxy free from manipulation. Stay together. Watch each other's backs, and we will win. The fleet entered the nebula. Immediately, automated defenses activated. Weapon platforms hidden in the gas clouds opened fire. Missiles streaked through space. Energy beams cut through the purple mist. The joint fleet returned fire. Human ships used their phase shift drives to get behind enemy platforms. Luminae cruisers provided shield support. Soltari vessels jammed enemy targeting systems. Draknir battleships unleashed devastating firepower. The Vex sent swarms of fighters to overwhelm point defenses. Pilot Deho led a mixed squadron. His wingmen included a Luminae pilot named Cyros and a reformed Draknir named Kretch. They had trained together for only a week but fought like veterans. Enemy fighters incoming, Deho called out. Break by pairs, engage. The dogfight was intense. Directorate fighters were piloted by artificial intelligence. They were fast and precise but lacked creativity. The living pilots adapted and improvised. They used tricks and tactics the AI could not predict. Deho destroyed 3 enemy fighters. Cyros destroyed 2. Kretch's heavy weapons obliterated a weapon platform. Together they cleared a path for the capital ships. Commander Hyunwoo's squadron targeted the station's shield generators. These were the key to the defenses. Destroy them and the station would be vulnerable. His ships phased in close and unleashed quantum torpedoes. The generators exploded one by one. The station's shields flickered and failed. Now it was exposed. Captain Yuna led the boarding operation. Her team included human special forces, Soltari telepaths, and Luminae engineers. They used boarding pods to attach to the station hull. Cutting lasers burned through the armor. They entered the enemy stronghold. Inside, they found advanced technology everywhere. Computers more powerful than anything in known space. Weapons that should not exist yet. Archives containing centuries of secrets. But they also found defenders. Directorate guards were well-trained and heavily armed. They fought with desperation. This was their last stand. The battle inside the station was brutal. Room-by-room combat. Corridors filled with weapons fire. Yuna's mixed team worked together perfectly. Human soldiers provided firepower. Soltari telepaths sensed enemy positions. Luminae engineers disabled security systems. They fought toward the central chamber. This was where the Directorate leaders would be. The masterminds behind centuries of manipulation. General Taiyang coordinated the assault from his flagship. He watched the tactical displays showing both the space battle and the boarding action. Everything was coming together. Victory was close. Finally, Yuna's team reached the central chamber. The doors opened to reveal a massive room filled with computer systems and holographic displays. And in the center stood an ancient Luminae. Her crystalline body was old, thousands of years old. Her name was Sarai. She was the founder of the Shadow Directorate. "You are too late," Sarai said. Her voice echoed through the chamber. "We have already won. Even if you destroy this station, our agents are everywhere. The galaxy will always need guidance, always need control." Yuna stepped forward. Her armor was damaged from the fighting, but her voice was clear and strong. "You are wrong. The galaxy does not need masters hiding in shadows. It needs cooperation, transparency, species working together as equals." "Naive," Sarai replied. "Without conflict, there is no progress. We push civilizations forward through controlled wars, through managed chaos. You pushed civilizations into graves," Yuna said. "Millions died because of your schemes. You call it progress. I call it murder," Sarai laughed. "And what do you think humanity did? You fought. You killed. You are no different than us." "We are completely different," Yuna replied. "We fought to survive, to protect our people. We did not start this war, you did. And now it ends." Sarai raised her hand. Energy weapons hidden in the walls activated. But the Luminae engineer on Yuna's team had already found the control systems. She deactivated the weapons before they could fire. "It is over," Yuna said. "Surrender." Sarai looked around at the human and alien soldiers surrounding her. She saw her plans crumbling, her organization destroyed. Finally, she lowered her hand. "Take her into custody," Yuna ordered. Outside, the space battle was ending. The last Directorate ships were destroyed or surrendering. The automated defenses were offline. The station was captured. Admiral Kwan sent the victory message to all ships. "The Shadow Directorate is defeated. The galaxy is free." Cheers erupted across the joint fleet. Humans celebrated with aliens. Old enemies became new friends. They had fought together and won together. Back on Earth, President Mirai addressed the galaxy. Her speech was broadcast to 1,000 worlds. Billions of beings watched and listened. "Today marks a new beginning," Mirai said. "The old Galactic Council was built on fear and control. It allowed corruption to grow in the shadows. That ends now. We propose a new alliance, a federation where all species are equal, where decisions are made openly, where no one hides in darkness." The response was overwhelming. Species across the galaxy agreed to join the new federation. The Lumini were the first to sign the charter. The Soltari followed. The Vex government, eager to make amends, joined immediately. Even the proud Draknir agreed after long debates. The new Federation headquarters was built on a neutral world. Representatives from every member species gathered there. Ambassador Jiwan became humanity's chief diplomat. She worked tirelessly to build relationships and solve disputes peacefully. Commander Hyunwoo remained in military service. The galaxy still had pirates and criminals. Peace needed to be protected. He commanded a mixed fleet of human and alien ships. His crew included warriors from a dozen species.